This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and love what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I hope everybody's doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life today. Want to say again, special happy birthday to my little lady, Zanaya. But also today, the 9th of November, actually 7 years ago, she turned 8 this day, but 7 years ago was the day we also lost Pastor Miles, his lovely wife, Ruth, Pastor Richard Pinder, my friends, Riddell and LeVard Parks, their little boy, Jojo, the pilots, my friend from high school, Furkan, the pilot, and I can't remember his name right now all of a sudden, and I know his family so well, and of course their guests. So this day also is a reminder, is a day of mourning also for families who remember the loss of Pastor Miles, Pastor Ruth, and the others, but especially my good friends Riddell and LeVard Parks, who were on that flight with their beautiful baby boy, Jojo. So sending love and thoughts and prayers with them to the family on this day that we remember, which is also my daughter's wonderful birthday. So I won't be a Debbie Down on her day. She's very happy to be 8, finally. Shout out to Zanaya, all the way from, at this time of COVID. COVID ain't great. But the best thing about COVID is I can't send cake and ice cream to the school. I actually saved money this birthday because COVID protocols say you can't share nothing. So I didn't even have to lie about it. I'm like, I can't send the cupcake, sweetie. It isn't my fault. Blame COVID. I saved money today. Won't he do it? I want to bring my guest on, my good friend, someone who challenges me to think. And man, when I say challenge, literally I'm sitting there like, oh my brain can't compute this. You got to slow down. And I love him for it, because he makes me think outside the box. He really makes me think outside the box. And I appreciate him so much. So my birthday is today. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Jennifer Thurston. Happy birthday, honey. Happy birthday. Rain, her name ain't Zanaja. It's Zanaya. Rain trying to name the baby after me. For the record, there's a trick to this. My oldest is named Azaria. The second one is named Zanaya. It was supposed to be A to Z, and we finished. I don't know where that boy come from in the middle. I blame COVID, but we digress. I want to bring my good friend on who challenges me to think, one and only. Y'all know him as critical thinker. I just call him Headache, the smarter version of smart. C. Allen Johnson. C. Allen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Always doing good. Always looking for opportunity. Every day above ground is a good day for me.
I know you're right. My good friend, C. Allen. C. Allen, we've been talking about this show for so long, right? We've been talking about the show for so long because when you and I chat, you always push me. I won't let anyone knows our conversations. You would say, Nahaja, you got to think about this. You got to think about this, You have to think about this. If we were, you challenge me to think outside of the norm. I have guests on. You say, Nahaja, meditate on this thing. And I said, okay, you know what? I can't meditate on this by myself. I need for others to hear this to see if I'm just the only one who doesn't understand. And one of the topics was I had the Minister of Transport on. And we were talking about housing, of course, the Prospect Ridge housing development. And there's this whole thing of housing. How do we make housing, not as expensive? How do we get Bahamians into home ownership, right? So we can have empowerment. And Nancy, you send me this whole system of math and stuff. And I was like, I'm ready. So today I took my ginkgo biloba. I'm ready for you, buddy. I am ready. So let's reimagine housing. Tell us some of these concepts and ideas that you got on housing.
Well, the biggest problem that we have for housing is that we have a deficiency in housing. If you go back to 2008, I was participate as part of a study in the Bahamas, and actually in 2008, it says that we were lacking about 80,000 housing units in the Bahamas based on the growth trajectory that we should be taking. As you know, we have not built 80,000, and the population of those who have entered into the market, leaving high school, etc., has expanded. we have government that actually promotes something called low-income housing. That within itself is a misnomer because it requires you to have low income. And so it would be needed in the Bahamas is something called affordable housing. Now, one of the things is that I've always talked about digitization and the fact that the world has been changing. And the biggest problem is the banks in the Bahamas only lend money for vehicles. Now, a lot of people will jump at it and says, yes, Asial, you're correct. But the problem is that we've never taught financial literacy in the Bahamas for them to understand what a vehicle is. Let me break it down in three parts. An automobile is a vehicle for transportation. Notice the word vehicle. A house is a vehicle for home ownership. And a business is a vehicle for wealth generation. Notice all three of them are vehicles. So we often limit ourselves in the thinking that, oh, vehicle is only an automobile. Now, here's why banks only lend money for vehicles. First of all, if you do not pay for that automobile, they can take you out and put somebody else in who will finish the payments. If you don't pay them for that house, they can take you out and put somebody else in it to finish the payments. And so when you go for business, if there's not a means for them to take you out and put somebody else in so they could continue the business to get their principal back, they are not going to finance you. Now, one of the biggest problems we have is that we, in spite of us bragging about this wealthy economy that we have, it doesn't impact probably about 60 to 70% of the Bahamian economy. Our middle class has shrank drastically. If you look at the debt ratio structure in the Bahamas, very few people can qualify for housing as it is priced, at least on New Providence.
Correct.
And so over the last 5 years, I've taken the opportunity in watching what is called DeFi. Decentralized finance has been evolving. Banking has evolved to the point that banks are no longer needed, except in the Bahamas. We cry for banks on the outer islands because we refuse to go digital. And so is financial services, and so is financing. And so the best way for us to begin to reimagine housing is to stop looking at the old methodology of doing things and begin to look at the DeFi environment. And
hold on, two things before you go there. I need you to speak up a little louder because you're doing your thunderstorm okay. Voice.
Okay, let's go. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you better now. And and I like that you're saying DeFi, decentralized financing, and that's for a lot of people when we talk about the crypto space, right? That's the digital currency space. That is a whole other, that's a topic that, funny thing that you mentioned it, we're going to be discussing that on tomorrow's show in depth, cryptocurrency, crypto investments, etc. But you're saying to reimagine housing, we got to reimagine banking?
Yes, because essentially that's how we get into housing. Unless we have cash to pay for the house, we have to begin to look at new methods of getting finances to Bahamians to move into that space. If the banks don't want to provide what is called conventional financing to Bahamians, then we must also reimagine the banking aspect of getting Bahamians into another space for which they can get financing. The beauty about, I love the initial half of your show where you were talking about tourism, because that is one of the multiple aspects of DeFi that we see the opportunity in providing housing. Let's use an example. On Grand Bahama alone, it is from a survey that was done right before Dorian, it said that we needed 10,000 rooms on Grand Bahama to reach what is called net zero. Net zero is where everybody gets their room filled, everybody have their restaurant, everybody have their tours or whatever, but nobody makes any money. It's a break-even type environment. So everything above the 10,000 rooms gets us to a profitability. It is estimated we need about 18,000 to 20,000 rooms on Grand Bahama, and at that particular time, it was between $10,000 and $15,000 for a real stimulus of the economy, what we call economic growth in the economy. So when we start talking about that type of rooms, we always revert to having some foreign investor who comes in, who's going to build some hotel with 1,000, 500, whatever amount of rooms. And so what we have to do is we have to reimagine the way we do things in regards to that. And so one of the things that we reimagined was to combine the desire for housing with fulfilling the need of those rooms that is needed. And so there's an aspect of it where you can actually do bed and breakfast or VRBOs. Now, and I want just to define the two of them. Bed and breakfast is more like rooms for rent, and we use the space all the time. We use the word bed and breakfast even when we have apartments for rent, and it's usually in somebody's house or some variables of that sort. VRBO, vacation rentals by owner, is another aspect of the market that is more in a need now, more so in this COVID environment. Mm-hmm. And so if you begin to look at the 20,000 rooms that we need on Grand Bahama, we simply have to decide that we will no longer look at mortgages the same. And what do you mean by that? We must now treat mortgages as business loans. And so, you get in your 40s and 50s, they tell you can't qualify, you have no income. But if you take the opportunity to look at a mortgage as a business loan as opposed to a residential mortgage, you would most likely qualify because you can authenticate the revenue stream or the potential revenue stream that is needed. And so what I did is that I got a group of individuals, of financiers, blockchain professionals, smart contract professionals, contractors, health and wellness cleaners, marketing individuals, advertising, everyone together for us to work towards developing a vehicle by which we could begin to advise Bahamians how to get into this market and basically have what is called VRBOs as well as basically having the home at the same time. Now, what happens is I want you to know that we went a little further than just entering into the tourism market. Let's define tourism and hospitality.
And when you say we went, you mean in terms of your study? That when you say we went,
my study, because it isn't. When I say we, it isn't me as an individual, because I depend also on the intellectual capitals of individuals in the market, who's in the construction market, who is in the construction management market, who is in the tourism market to understand the environment, who understand the health environment, because all of these things plays a variable in making sure that your business plan is a viable one, as opposed to simply saying I'm going to build a house and build some apartments and people are going to show up and rent it. You have to be able to authenticate that you can generate the revenue that is needed in building the home. I'm going to come back to tell you.
Yeah, because that's if you're just tuning in, C. Alan Johnson talking. We're chatting and talking about reimagining housing in the Bahamas. C. Alan there in Grand Bahama with this, and just so that folks who are just tuning in, when and when you're using words like authenticate and when I hear that, all I'm hearing about is crypto convos, and it took me a solid like 18 months to learn what all of that means. Are we? Because I want to make sure we tie in, because you're going and I'm loving where you're going, but I make sure I want to tie in because I might have missed it, and that's why I'm interrupting. Is I think I might have missed how the decentralizing of finance and tourism and housing, those three. Did I miss it, or is it like a roundabout way of getting? I'm
coming right to it. But I first wanted to find some things. Let's go for tourism. Hospitality is where the industry that we need to get into, and because hospitality is what people experience, tourism is what people do. Mm-hmm. And at one time, we used to provide sun, sand, sea, and service. And the Bahamas, based on that same survey about 3 years ago, we no longer provide service. We provide sun, sand, and sea. And so when we begin to reimagine housing, we also have to reimagine the Bahamas and reimagine the product. So we have to have hospitality reimagined as well as tourism reimagined. Now, we're going to come back and I'm going to go through the various incarnations of tourism. But now let's put the three together. What you have is you have a person in need of a home. You have a market in need of rooms. Yeah. And you need financing for both of those. Mm-hmm. So the best thing to do is to go to we use the blockchain or crypto or the decentralized financing. Now, let's use an example for a client that we're working with right now. They are desirous of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and they have a 1/4 acre lot. So here's where we're working towards that. What we're doing is we're looking at the home that we want to build for them, and at the same time we are looking at building a 2-bedroom, 2-bath and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on their property. Now, the beauty about that is because you are now building a rental income that's very geared towards the tourism market, the footprint, the floor space of those particular units are not one where you would say you are renting a Nahaja and her family for them to live in. People come to the Bahamas not for the rooms, but for the experience. The rooms are just where they will actually stay. But it's not compacted either. We still have to have a standard, because we also created a standard bureau to work with us, because we want to be able to provide turnkey 3-star environment and housing. But essentially what we have done now is we have created a smart contract on the blockchain for the individuals who's doing this house. And we are currently looking to engage some advanced bookings for these individuals to raise the $520,000 that is going to be needed to build this house. And I'm going to tell you why.
On the blockchain. On the blockchain.
On the blockchain, yes.
Hold that thought. Let's take a break. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We have to take a break right now. And that now it's getting interesting, right? So your crowds, you telling me, Alan, we crowdfunding too?
Yeah, hold on. It's a form of crowdsourcing, yes.
And I got a great comment here too. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, C. Alan Johnson in Grand Bahama, saying, hey, listen, there's a way to reimagine housing in the Bahamas, dealing with the issue of financing, of availability in tourism, all of this good stuff. We'll be back right after this. And we're back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My good friend C. Alan Johnson, all the way out of the wonderful island of Grand Bahama. We're talking about reimagining housing. How this housing thing is possible in the Bahamas. We're trying to get everybody in a home. And C. Alan, we were just talking about this. What you're trying to do with the client right now by putting or trying to crowdsource, it sounds so on the blockchain, yes. The money's necessary with advanced bookings for this house. So circumventing the bank in a way, traditional banking in a way, is that what we're getting at?
Yes, absolutely. Because essentially our initial goal is to find 104 people who is willing to invest in this digital asset. Because essentially what we do is we convert the property into tokens. And then we create smart contract, and we have an advanced booking system to facilitate the individuals being compensated, or at the time they can redeem their advanced booking for access to the properties. What we do is we have variations of the plan, but if you just take from the simplest aspect where you have this, let's put two one-bedrooms. That meets two one-bedroom, one bath that meet high standard. The bedrooms are going to be built to basically accommodate two individuals. In the living room, there will be a hideaway, full bed, not no roll-away anything, full bed tied into the wall, just technologically advanced.
What do they call those? What do they call those beds? I know
Murphy beds. They call them Murphy beds.
Yeah,
but
Murphy beds.
This is but this is fully functional. You will not see it. You won't even know it's there. The guest will literally have to watch an instructional video to find the bed. But what it does, it allows up to 4 guests now to, say, stay in the one bedroom, which then makes the offer that we make somewhat more feasible for individuals to consider. Because now, let's use an example where we say, if you was to buy these tokens that we have for sale, and let's say, I don't want to break it down, make it very simple, say you buy 5 tokens and each token is worth $1,000 for 1 week stay in the Bahamas. Essentially, you will hold those digital tokens for when this unit is completed. It's on a smart contract. It's secured. We have attorneys. Everything has to put the money in escrow, meeting the same requirements. So now that we raise between $520,000 to $624,000, we can actually go and totally build out this unit for the individual and build them their 3-bedroom, 2-bath, as well as build the 2 1-bedrooms in the yard that will be able to accommodate those individuals who will be coming to redeem their tokens. And you could, let's say, we give them 10 years to redeem their 5 weeks each. And so essentially, you have booked 5 years of the 10 years that you have available, taking into variables that they will not all come at the same time.
Well, and let me just ask you this. Someone asked a question, and I think it's actually a pretty good question, and a question I want to ask you too. What is different with this reimagining of housing than if, say, for example, I have the same, quarter acre lot, right? Or let's say a half an acre lot. I don't have the traditional funding to build this out, but I can pre-sell this project, right? I can go ahead and pre-sell like realtors pre-sell. Yes. What is the difference with doing that versus doing what many would consider a more complicated process? Because many people are not educated in tokenomics. We don't know what's going on now. this decentralized finance space. Many of us don't even like this e-wallet. Many of us don't know anything about crypto. So that's a steep learning curve, mind you, just for the record. See, Alan, we need to learn this stuff. The world is already there, and we need to be right where that is.
Nahaj, but this is why my company is going to be sitting in the middle. We're going to sit in the middle between the person who's desirous of doing this, and we would educate them, because they have to be involved in the process, because they will be managing the property. But I want you to understand that this is not just build out. This is actually building smart homes, smart units to build in. Because we are also in the home that we are designing, is building a house completely off the grid. But I want you to understand where this house also generates money. Our system is basically what is called transformational wealth system, where we want to transform people's life, but at the same time empower them to build generational wealth in this new dispensation we are. If we need 20,000 rooms, then why can't we have 10,000 Bahamians that own homes and at the same time provide bed and breakfast for that environment on Grand Bahama?
How easily is this something that can be done today? So if I got a half an acre, or forget that, I've got, I bought this 7,000 square foot property, and I still got a loan on this property. I want to put the sort of, income generating asset there. I can't go to the bank because I don't qualify. The process with the bank is lengthy. How does it work? How do we make sure that people's monies are safe? Because, of course, the bank goes through risk assessments. What if I am not a good steward of money? Like, how does all of this work in that vein?
No, we work with establishing an escrow account, because when the asset become tokenized, we have a legal firm that will act as intermediary between that. So the money goes in escrow until the full funding for the build out is involved. And then the title of the house is also kept in escrow until the full fulfillment of those tokens are all redeemed. But so the title is joint and tenant, or even almost the same as a mortgage. The difference is that you don't have a mortgage. So as the individuals come and redeem those tokens, they can redeem the tokens themselves, or they can actually sell the tokens or transfer it. And we are considering becoming part of the exchange program. So in case you want to go to someplace else, you spend a week in the Bahamas or 2 weeks in the Bahamas, you have 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks left, you could exchange it with somebody else who can simply come and redeem that asset to spend that week or 2 weeks within that property. And so but the beauty about it is the tokens themselves also have a redemptive value. So the mere fact that, let's say you have the property and you have 6 months a year for yourself, a smart person would take the 6 months and whatever income they have from there is to begin to redeem the tokens from the back end, so they'll have ownership of the house sooner rather than later. And so when you start looking at, say, the house, the information I just gave you, you're looking at only of 104 people basically committing to 4 weeks over a 8-year period or 10-year period, whatever configuration you want, that you will hold this property in escrow for their investment, or if they want to, they can upsell, uprent, or do whatever it is, because the property is, remember, the value of what they're getting is a reduced value based on the advanced purchases. That same room that they may have paid $1,000 for, when you look at the quality of what they're getting, would be $1,200, $1,000, $1,300, even $1,500.
You're losing folks. Hold on. You're losing me, so I know you're losing folks.
Yes,
you're losing me.
Let's say you paid $1,000. You paid $1,000 for the 7 days in this room. When you look at the quality,
hold on. So let me just make sure I slow it down a bit. So right now you have the potential homeowner. So you have the person who owns the property, right? You have the property owner who is the investor, who's seeking investors, who's seeking this crowdsourcing or crowdfunding of this home, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say Susan, me, I am the property owner. Nahaja owns the property, and we are now going to put this thing out to market on the blockchain. So we're going to create a smart contract for folks to use their decentralized funds, their crypto coins, either Bitcoin, Ethereum, and let's go with Bitcoin.
No, it'll be built on one of those, but we will create let's say we create a Nahaja, a Black coin, okay?
I like that already.
Yeah, this just for the people to buy. And the beauty about it is that the black coin is actually, you could consider it a non-fungible coin or whatever. It's backed by an actual real tangible asset. This isn't the crypto coin. It's basically a smart contract where you can use the coin for redemption. It isn't one of those where the crypto fluctuates based on mining, etc. It is just there on the blockchain for you to be able to observe, to see the progress, and that your investment is secured, is an escrow for the entire build-out. And so the property itself remains as a valued asset. So let's say we may have built the property for $500,000. The property has a value maybe of $750,000.
Right.
We have more than enough asset into that. The beauty about these houses is that we're not only just building houses, we're building houses that are net zero or passive houses. Net zero is where you basically have no electricity, anything. A passive house, if you refurbish it, reduces it to as low as it can go. But here's what's happening. We are actually looking at building power houses, a grid, power generation houses. Second part of that aspect is we are also building within these houses. There's 3 or 4 different concepts that we have yet to utilize in the Bahamas. It's something called, it's separate and apart from the type of crypto we're talking about here. We have what is called crypto mining, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is, Dogecoin, whatever. So the fact is that you are now creating a carbon neutral power generation grid system, complete with storage facility for up to 3 days. I already spoke to the various different producers. So now you can actually just simply put a server for $1,000, whatever amount you want to look at, and you can actually begin to generate between $25, $50, or $100 a day from mining one of the less brutal cases such as Bitcoin. You could go and so here it is that you're mining, and they can Google this. On average, you'll generate $50 to $100 a day in just mining, long as you don't have to pay an electricity bill. Now, let me tell you what you don't understand. So instead of buying,
so hold on, just as a note, you're saying that my house, my smart house, will be able to mine for me?
Yes.
Man, stop talking banana cream and pie. See, Ellen, now you're talking now. This next level. No,
absolutely. So what I'm saying is, here's the beauty about it. Because the mining aspect of it is the electricity cost that keeps you from mining in the Bahamas. You have to get below 10 cents. So what if you're generating electricity from the solar system or renewable power that you could mine and not impact your home? Because your home is being built net zero. LED, gas, stoves, very minimal. So your impact is there. So here's the beauty about it, though. You could also still, at the same time, even send power to the grid and get it back if you want to. It's a whole combination of things you can do. But what happens is, instead of just getting a crypto mining machine, what you'll do is you'll get a server. Here's the beauty about it. There's another concept that we don't use in the Bahamas, and that is called distributed storage, right? We have something called distributed computing. So the fact is that for crypto mining, quick primer in crypto mining uses the video card of your computer. For the mere fact that you're not going to be using this particular server or whatever you put inside of your house, you're not going to be working from it. So now what you can do is you have a hard drive in there that you could be put part of a network of distributed storage for which data is stored, and you're paid for that data storage. You can also now have what is called distributed
computing. This is
computing.
sci-fi stuff. You know that, right? This
is what people are doing now, though. This is
right. And see, but I say sci-fi stuff because the Bahamas, we still complaining about our ATM machines charging us all this money. I mean, You're talking about something that is that for us, and that's why I love you, C. Allen, because the future is now. The things you've been talking about, that's where we are now. People followed you then, like 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. They'd know that you've always been ahead of the game in terms of tech. So I want folks to really hear what C. Allen is saying. And I don't know how you're going to get this done in the Bahamas, though, C. Allen. I'm with you.
We would love to have 30,000 individuals, and hopefully government can buy into it. But even without them, we'll do it 1 at a time, 10 at a time, 20 at a time. What happens is we know there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for ownership. It's just for individuals to test the system. We want to educate people. We're going to create our own platform, but we want people, if they believe they can duplicate it, to do the same thing. Because essentially you have a computer in there, but people who don't understand, distributed computing is where people use hundreds or thousands of computers together to crunch, to act as a big, giant computer system to solve problems. It is being done every single day around the world. And so in the same thing, what you have is distributed data storage for where you have backup of backups. And so you can literally lose 1,000 computers out of a 5,000 configuration, or even lose depends on your configuration. You can lose 3,000 computers out of 4,000 computers and still have 100% of your data.
Channelie asks a great, sorry. Shanali asked a great question. What is the voltage capacity needed for mining on our grid without causing constant blackouts? 6,000 watts is needed to mine Bitcoin. 20 to 30, to 20 to 300 watt solar panels. Startup cost per home.
Right, we have all of that as part of our configuration. We're talking about an off-grid house. The grid will be a backup. We're not going to depend on Emera or BPL. You got to be crazy. I can't depend on them to keep my soda cold. And so you can imagine that you talk about mining. And so this is where the government of the Bahamas itself has promised 100% financing for solar power. And so once you can prove that you can generate your own energy, you can actually do this because you have a combination of, first of all, reducing your energy consumption yourself by basically having a purpose-built home. And so the fact is that you're now talking about, let's use an example, everybody knows about a Telsa wall. So you have a Telsa wall. But let me add another part of this. We are actually also examining building actually communities that are self-sustaining. And so essentially what we have is a microgrid. We're going to have a microgrid where a number of homes simply contribute power to this grid and we just get it back in the nighttime. So you don't even need a Telsa wall or whatever it is within your house because what you have created is a microgrid in your community that generate power using the solar energy or whatever renewable energy that's there. We're also going to advocate for the government of the Bahamas to allow us. We talk about PPP, not for the building. We talk about personal power production or whatever they call it. But we want individual power production. But we also want PPP. So I want the ability, like especially on Grand Bahama, where the grid doesn't belong to the power company. I want the right to generate electricity in another location, pay whatever it costs for me to send it directly to my system. Or we will build communities that has the ability to generate more than our consumption, and we will put it part of a microgrid that where we will calculate and build purpose-built communities that is green and that's not needed.
Okay, hold that thought. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask some basic questions with housing questions now, because tech still got basic housing questions. I need to know what's my square footage, what's my startup cost, and how much data have you guys gathered to know if there is that great market out there? Because I like what you're saying, C. Allen. I like what you're saying. I feel like these smart contracts, they definitely will be taking us to the next place in this country where where a lot of folks are talking crypto and non-fungible tokens and all of this stuff. I like it. I just trying to figure out now how do we get into it? Like, how do you do it? Is it safe? Is it legal? Where is it binding? All of that good stuff folks want to know. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Special thanks to my wonderful producer, April, who's on the board. And April has always been so patient with me. You know how many break cues she's given me that I have ruined? If this was Wally, I would have been cut 16 times. April, I love you here. Girl power. Love you, April. My wonderful producer, April. All right, I got my good friend, C. Allen Johnson, joining me right now. And we're talking about reimagining housing. My good friend, C. Allen Johnson in Grand Bahama pushes my level of thinking, my capacity, my level of understanding. And I love him for it because the things that seem impossible are so possible. We just have no one. I'm just not smart enough to capture it. By the way, C. Allen, someone wants to know, can you ask Mr. Allen if he's hiring and how to get a resume to him? I have experience in the areas of the field that he's talking about. That's exciting news to me because if somebody knows what you're talking about, C. Allen, in terms of technically, yes, we hiring them.
They can send an email to c.allen.johnson@allencjohnson.com or c.allen.johnson@buybuildborrow.com. That's a real catch here, buy, build, borrow, because we're going to help people buy a home, build one, or borrow one until they own it.
I like that one. c.allen.johnson@buybuildborrow.com. Buy build, B-I-L-L-E-D?
B-I-U-L-D.
Sorry, I think money.
D-U-I-L-D.
D-U-I-L-D.
Yes.
Yeah.
Borrow.
Sorry, having a slow moment too.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
So it's c.allen.johnson at Allen, C. Johnson, A-L-L-E-N, cjohnson.com. And c.allen.johnson at buybillborrow.com.
Yeah. I was having a slow moment too. I couldn't spell. I was thinking about bills. I was totally not thinking about building my house. Someone says, I like the idea of the crypto for timeshare. Because of time, see, Alan, I want you just to go over.
But it's not timeshare. Let me correct that. This is what is called fractional own. This is what is called limited fractional ownership, because the individuals don't own the home and they don't have a right. They have a set number of weeks for which they can redeem, transfer, sell, or use. So let's say the 102 individuals that buy the 4 weeks from you, that get you to where you are. You can have your 2,000 square foot house, if that's what you need. Maybe you need a 2-bedroom house, but at the same time, you can have your 600, 700, 800 square foot house on a 1/4 acre lot. I know it's somewhat harder for doing New Providence, but the beauty about this is you look at the income potential of having this house, having the people redeem it for the other 6 months that you'll have available. We're in the tourism industry. If you hear Joy Jubilo, she says tourism is going to be uptick. The whole concept is that we have to begin to market the tourism numbers where we get the 7 million tourism. The problem is the 7 million tourists already comes on a all-inclusive hotel. So it requires some participation of government for the marketing of it, so we could begin to take that thing where we have the ships where we could move the actual flying in. So this also has to work in conjunction with people developing tours, with the people developing things for people to do. And this is where you say we are in the hospitality business. So when you begin to talk about tourism, you talk about sports tourism, you talk about health tourism, you talk about wellness tourism, you talk about educational tourism, you talk about all of these aspects of tourism. These are things what people do. You have, where we have digital nomads, all of these things. So we have to create the environment where we begin to have smart communities, smart homes, smart cities and smart islands, and eventually a smart country. And so we talk about this blue economy, green economy, orange economy, digital economy, knowledge economy, conceptual economy, aquamarine economy, all these very different models. And so these are all part of the PLP manifesto. So if these are to occur, then we should actually take ownership of the housing market, because these individuals are not bringing housing with them, nor are they bringing tents or dooms to live in. So they have to have some place to stay. So if we are going to move towards this 8, 9, 10 million people, more so where we'll try to move towards actually the fly in and creating the safe, Gilbert Morris stated best, some safe COVID-safe zones for individuals. These VRBOs, as opposed to the B&B, provides a unique environment, because we even have we have a company that specializes in environmental science that will actually begin to certify properties that will bring it in as COVID-free, COVID prepared. And so what it is we can reimagine the Bahamas as we know it, while reimagining tourism and hospitality to basically build back better, stronger together. And so that's the most important thing, is that we need not to exclude Bahamians in this, because DeFi gives us a unique opportunity. If you look at Atlantis and Bahama and all these other hotels, they take reservations weeks, months, and years in advance. Why is it so hard for us to create a platform for which Bahamians can also take reservations in advance in a secure environment, monies in escrow, and develop and have it develop? And we'll have an advanced marketing thing to create a demand that we have to continuously build out to basically create an environment for Bahamians to take ownership of the economy. And so
Alan, let me ask you this. And I like that. I like right where you start. These aren't fantasies. These are very doable, right? Very doable. Let me ask you before my internet it freaks out again, because I need a smart house apparently, because my internet freaking right out. But
you need a better mesh network in the house.
You right on that. I'm gonna talk to the IT guy that I married in a minute after the show. But
I can send you a note. There's a company here offering a tremendous deal. You can't beat the price for a mesh network. I won't mention it, because they'll have to pay you. They have to pay you for the ad.
Oh heck yeah, we ain't gonna mention it until they pay for the ad. But anyways, we digress. The question then is, okay, just because the idea that you have, and for those who are just tuning in, I want you to relay the idea again. What you're saying is, listen, we want to create housing, smart homes. There's a vacancy. There's an opportunity, not a vacancy, but an opportunity, right?
Yes.
Where we have this
smart
demand.
Purpose-built homes. Yes.
Yeah. So there's that demand there. But a lot of folks, the traditional banking is holding us up. And there's an opportunity where we can go through these smart contracts where you put your home or the project, not the mortgage, but this project of crowdfunding on the blockchain, create a smart contract where people, book in advance. So creating like this tourism model, but pre-booking, right? That helps to pay for the home. And they buy up weeks. So I can buy like you said, 4 weeks of time in the Bahamas. And this is done on a smart contract. At the end of this process, I do not have a mortgage. Nope. My house is smart, right? Because you're inclusive of this building, is off the grid, solar, etc. How long would this take, C. Allen? And
if you're looking, because for instance, let's use the example where we are almost to the point of finished building out our platform, right? We really want to do a soft launch beginning next week. But for you, on that contract where you want to build at home, we're only looking for 104 people out of the 7 million tourists that comes here to the Bahamas who actually believe that you have a product and you would have something they could use and something they could trade. See, this is not just for them using the 4 weeks or 5 weeks that you would give them, say, for the $5,000. This is an investment for them that they can trade, they can have value on, and they can actually have, we have a revenue and income models where the token can go up in value. So the main fact is, it is just not a simple, you buy and you're waiting 5 years, 8 years to use your product. This is something where they can enjoy a week or two in the Bahamas, sell the other 3 weeks and get their full money back. And so this is, and it's all set on a smart contract. And if you know how the blockchain works, they could transfer ownership to whoever they want to take it over, or even trade it for vacation to another place. They may want to go to TCI or Jamaica, and somebody who went to Jamaica may want to come to the Bahamas. So it's all part of that pool of transferring ownership. And we will basically take people from concept to construction. And so essentially, based on the home and the availability of things, we figured that it could take maybe up to 6 months or so for you to find your 104 people based on from the conceptual drawings and preparation, because you remember you have to design the house you want. And even for people who want to basically look at this as an investment, if the house doesn't cost you anything, literally speaking, we have the opportunity, if we look at this constructively, we can build 20,000 homes. Remember, so we say, listen to this carefully, 20,000 homes would require 20,000 times, let's say 100 people. Mm-hmm. And we have to ask, will we have that many people come to the Bahamas yearly? 300,000 people yearly. We say we have 7 million, 4 million, whatever the amount it is. But we're actually building a purpose-built environment for individuals to visit the Bahamas. We are going to have to rethink tourism. We have to rethink hospitality. And so essentially this is a collective environment where we can have groupings of individuals begin to become involved, but we are literally moving people into home ownership with literally we're ironing out the details where, for instance, we may charge as low as $300 preparatory fund for us to sit and discuss and draw up the details for you. And we have discussed and argued about this, that our worst case scenario we want is a total of $3,000 approximately for individuals to actually take them beyond the case of concept. And so but if government begin to become involved, maybe we can have government co-op this, and let's do this together. Because let me give you another part of this. Right now, as it stands right now, they pay up to 15% to Airbnb or VRBO. They also now have to pay 10% to government. That's 25%. Plus, they may have to do some marketing. We are hoping that we could engage government, that we will be able to do our own marketing for this SaaS stuff on our own platform. So instead of you automatically losing 25% of your revenue plus having to pay for marketing, maybe we could actually incorporate it within this, giving government their 10%, and worst case scenario is another 7% total that covers your whole booking, marketing, and everything, and handling of your platform. And it doesn't cost you anything because, again, this is all consumer where the person who consuming it is the one who pays. And so there's a lot more information. It wasn't an hour to go through, but I want to plant the ideas, and maybe we'll have leadership in this country stop trying to do the same thing, expecting different results.
I like this.
The world has changed, and we must change along with it. During COVID, the world has accelerated for 1 year every 3 months. Mm-hmm. So we've been locked down for 18 months. We are now 6 years into the future. Mm-hmm. And so what we have to do is we have to rethink what we've been doing and rebuild the Bahamas on a new platform. We have to build into the future. This is essentially what I'm proposing. I'm proposing we build into the future and then have the people join us there. And so, so it's and I would challenge bring your economists and anyone involved in the digital arena and anyone involved in distributed data or distributed computing or crypto mining or in energy production to let's have a conversation. Let's crunch the numbers. Let's see what it is. I've talked to people like Telsa and others who are excited about the opportunity about building power communities that generate power for themselves. They are very excited concerning the location of the Bahamas with solar energy. And so there's a host of possibilities, and even reimagining our grid system the way it is. We talk about going to net zero. But here's the beauty about it. Imagine a home that also creates carbon credits, because no garbage goes out in respect, plastics, everything that is combined.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And this is a great question. How resilient will these homes be? One storm and the investors lose their investment?
No, say again, repeat the question.
So they're saying how resilient will these homes be? Will one storm cause them to lose their entire investment?
We will only guarantee up to Hurricane 5, but we will have insurance.
You're a funny guy. And so, you're
not building cardboard houses. We're meeting the Bahamas standards, and hopefully we develop some new, stronger standards. But technology now exists now. For us to embrace technology in the building of homes, the cost of home when you embrace technology is reduced too. Also, we're looking at bulk building. So when you begin to bulk build, you actually have reduction of costs. And so we will encourage. So this is not just we will start house by house by house. Hopefully we looking at our initial of maybe a few dozen. But if we actually can educate people, and we would delay our initial launch, if we could educate people for them to understand it. So maybe we will move on to an education platform of questions and answers like we're doing step by step, go into some churches. The one important thing we want, those thousands of individuals, those 42,000 individuals that work for civil service, the government need to get rid of them, right? They can't afford to fire them because there's nowhere to go. We need 80,000 jobs to replace 5,000 jobs per year we didn't create. So what this does is this creates individuals that they could sit at home, participate in the tourism product. If preparing a room is too much for you, then tell you what, we're going to have some people who are going to come up with house cleaning services who will take that $150 cleaning fee, right? That they'll take that from you. And by the way, if you want to, you could throw in a $10 a day energy fee. So it's so much variation. This.
I like it.
Yes, I'm saying, I see somebody ask about backup power. This is a well thought out energy developing system. Guess what we're going to throw in for your power, for your backup? We'll put 3 e-cars in your yard, and the worst case scenario, if the sun doesn't shine, your backup generator doesn't work, your Telsa wall doesn't work, you can plug your car into your house and run your house for a day.
See, Alan, we got to go. I appreciate this. I love this, that we are thinking this way, reimagining housing. I like this. You gave me some things to think about. We got to go, but I appreciate you so much, buddy. And as per usual,
thank you for having me.
You got me thinking big thoughts now. I like that smart contract house, buddy. I like that. Okay. That's a pre-booking. We'll talk soon. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I like when folks challenge us and tell us to think differently. I like that. I like it a lot. You're having a good one, everyone. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow. I got a show that is all about cryptocurrency, mining, learning about it. Everyone, I get a lot of calls and questions, and it's a big thing in the news. Everyone have a great day. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We're out.